Hello, hello.
Welcome back for
Hello,
another
hello.
episode of the Takedown Breakdown. It's been a long time coming, but we're back now. So, without
We are
further
back.
ado, let's get right on into it. So, we have Jesus, Phil, Jay. What's up, guys? How y'all been?
Busy as hell. I'm not. I'm
What are
not
you
gonna
like?
curse.
What are you like? Getting ready for fatherhood or something? You're not busy.
Oh yeah,
You're right.
congratulations on the twins. So
That's
that's
right.
good.
That's right.
We're
My two
just
little
making that
boys.
public. We're
Uh,
just making it public.
I
Yeah.
did he freaking posted.
Breaking
Yeah, but
news.
how you gonna
This is what you
announce
get.
my? How are you gonna announce my news?
Okay,
This
I
is
apologize.
my. What do you mean? This is my news. Those children are just as much mine as they are yours. It's like Michael
Okay.
Scott in The Office, with Jan.
So
Okay.
this past weekend, it was a fight night, but honestly, it felt like a pay per view. UFC Liverpool. Let's talk about it. First off, obviously the main event in everybody's eyes wasn't actually the main event. The main event was, will Patty pass another test? So I mean, he got the finish. Is he legit? What do you guys think? I think he did a pretty good job.
The British are coming. The British are literally
This is
coming.
true. Michael Bisping is so happy right now.
Michael
Like,
Bisping was having I think he creamed his shorts or something the other night. Like he was so hyped for this fight and for this night. The O2, honestly, the O2 is a small place, but it's special. Like that
yeah,
crowd
yeah.
was unbelievable. And I gotta be honest, like the one thing I was a little disappointed of, I mean, not that like I'm not a huge Hermanson fan, but I would have preferred to watch him against Till because of that arena. Like that crowd would have gone. Think about this: Till, Patty, and Aspinall and McCann on one card. I
Yeah, it
mean,
sucks that Till got injured. It seems like he's injury prone now. I think part of it is because of how his camp trains.
yeah,
But Patty and Molly, they lit up that place. Um, I
she's a
still
star.
I still don't think he's legit, but I think Molly McCann can actually, she's pretty good for that division. What do you
But
what do you think,
she's a
Jesus?
Wait.
star.
Okay. Hold on. Relax. Everybody, just relax. Calm down. So, look, man. Here's my hot take. So one thing I will give the British crowd is the fact that they run like they go hard for the home team.
They really do.
Especially the last card that I saw, it was nuts. I think it was March or whatever. That card was insane. I love that card. It felt like a pay-per-view. It had that pay-per-view feel. So, I will give them that. Now, Patty Pimblett, now his skills are impressive. He's good for the people he fights.
Yeah, that's a great
You
way
know
to
what I
put
mean?
it.
I can't give him the nod just yet. Like
Hmm.
just because of the type of talent that he's fought. You can say the same. Like it's kind of like he's kind of like in the same trajectory, in my opinion, like Sugar Sean, because of the
Hmm.
type of talent that he's fought. I think that with time, maybe he'll be, one of those 55ers that are killers, but I just don't see it yet. Now, Molly McCann, she's a star. Like she is a star. Do I think
Yeah,
that she has the tools to beat a Valentina? No. I think that she's gonna
yeah.
be a main attraction fighter. I think she's gonna be a main attraction fighter, but you can't like the way she fights. She's gonna have a tough time. I personally think with someone
But
like that.
will she make a run for the title? I mean, that's already two back to back electrifying finishes. So I think with a couple more fights, she could actually have a crack at Valentina. Because let's be honest, who is gonna beat her? Like her last fight, she had a pretty good test against a strong striker. I think that Molly is a very good boxer. She has dynamite in her hands too for that division. And it's not like it's out of this world. Tyler made Valentina look human. And as for Patty, yes, he's fighting these guys that they're good, but they're not that level that he should be at with his level of stardom. So, yes, will he get better? I will say this. I noticed one thing. My last criticism of him was when he fought Luigi and when he fought that other dude. When he blitzes in or even strikes in general, his chin is way up in the air. He has a YouTube channel where he shows his training, and he's been working with his boxing coach a lot. And I noticed that in this fight, he actually was keeping his chin down. So that's already a massive improvement in terms of his striking. He seemed a little more patient at keeping the range and not just blitzing in. And when he was moving backwards, he wasn't always just moving in a straight line. So he is getting better. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not. I just think that it's too soon for him to fight somebody really good. Like even somebody like a what's his name?
Ila
Diakise.
Topuria?
No,
Okay.
Ilya's not even. That's not even in
Jacasey?
the picture. Ilya will kill him. That's a
But-
whole different level, right? Because Ilya, I think, in my opinion, Ilya is a top 10. He could be a top 10 guy.
I think
don't know.
Patty beats a Jacasey. No problem.
But that's a better test than Jordan Levitt. You know, I mean, he hit him with the sissiest right hand I've ever seen in my life. It seemed like he slapped him. It was, I don't know what the fuck was going on there. So I don't know,
What's your
man.
take, Phil?
Patty has a lot to prove.
Yeah, in my
I
opinion,
don't.
yes.
I think what you said, Jesus, about the comparison to Sean, like he's kind of like that side of the pond's Sean.
Yeah.
The thing is, like those fans, first and foremost, they are so different than the US fans. They're so different. Because and you saw that with Connor. Like a lot of Connor's rise was obviously because he became popular in the US, but like he wouldn't have become popular in the US without those Irish fans that literally like tear down buildings for that guy. They light stuff on fire for that guy. So I think that's something that we got to keep in mind. I like what you said about Molly too. Molly, you know what was cool about the Molly performance is that like how many times have we seen moments be really, really big for especially like look at Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis every time he fights in Houston, he can't get a win, right? He can't get it done, and that's unfortunate. So
or Weidman in New York.
yeah,
Can't
I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like to step in at the O2 and on the same card as your boy Patty, and to have those performances was so good for the sport and it was so good for that area of the world, like with this, like inside the context of this sport. So Molly, and look, I mean, I don't think Hannah Goldie's very good. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that, but at the same time, it's almost like the Mystic Matt thing, right? When you say like, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to finish him like this. Well, she put on a performance and finished that woman. And she did it in dramatic fashion. The spinning elbow, she had 10 or 11 unanswered shots. It was a good stoppage by the referee. Like, it was a great performance. I thought her performance was better than Patty's.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like Patty was. I liked the fact that Patty was resilient because the first round we know that he got taken down. Jordan didn't do anything with those takedowns, and he's always trying to finish fights. Now, one thing that I will say, what might get him in trouble is that he fell in love with that guillotine. And you remember when Connor tried to do the guillotine on Dustin Poirier, and it's just not well timed, or even more recently, Glover Teixeira against Geary. Those things get you in trouble when it's a little sloppy. And I think once you get onto the bigger stage with bigger opponents, it's not really going to fly. So I don't see him. I see him being a bigger star than what his talent is going to dictate. But I like Patty. I really do. I thought he had a good performance.
Yeah, I think he's good for the sport.
I think
Yeah.
so too. What I do respect about him was what he said about mental health and not to be afraid to speak. So
Yeah.
that
He's
I'm
great
not
on the mic.
I think
great.
he's a good. I think he has all the charisma. He has all the tools to be a star. But I think as he's gonna move up in rank, it's gonna get hard for him. You have people like Saruki and Gamrot who are really good grapplers. You have a Benil Dairouche. You have all of those three guys alone. They
Fiziev.
are. Yeah, you have Fiziev.
Yeah.
Like you're not
Yeah,
knocking
but
out Fiziev.
we're
What about
talking
Ilya?
we're
Ilya
talking about the
Topuria,
cream of the crop right now. Like
You
Ilya,
don't-
he's closer to fighting Ilya than he is to fighting a Fiziev, and I don't think he gets even close to beating it. Ilya is fucking good. Like that
Ilya's
guy,
a really good striker.
he passes the eye test. You could see that he thinks he's clever. He gets in on you. He goes to the body. He goes up top. The height difference, it was a bit alarming when he fought that other dude.
Herbert,
and he
Ebert.
and he almost got dropped. That's going to be a bit of a problem because Patty's a wild striker, but I still think Ilya is able to maneuver that if that fight does happen.
If you can make two fights for me for Patty that'll really test him with guys that are not ranked, I'd give him either Drew Dober or Terrence McKinney.
I like those fights.
I like
That would be a wild fight.
I like both of those. I also like Bobby King, Green, Bobby
Yes.
Green. That's a good
Yeah.
fight for him. Diego Ferreira, he lost his last fight, and I think he's lost a lot of momentum, but he's still a very good uh, striker and grappler. Thiago Moises. There's a lot of really good guys. Drakkar Klose.
You
Yeah.
have
I mean,
like, to be honest with you, the 55 division. I mean, obviously, it's always been like the premier division, but at the
Oh my
same time,
god,
like you're not even 15 deep. You're like 25, 30 deep. Like
bro!
there's so many good. Like Ilya's not even ranked.
Just for a point of reference. Just for a
Conor
point of
McGregor is number
reference.
12 in the world.
No, he's like number on Tapology. Connor's 33.
No, I'm just saying in the UFC. I understand that there's other things out, but
No.
he's
This
12th in
is
the world.
from the UFC roster. Like this is crazy. Conor McGregor is 33. Patty's 35.
No, I'm looking at it
like
here on the rankings. I have Conor at 12. I have Tony at 11.
no, on the UFC rankings.
Sarukian.
I'm looking at Tapology. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
But because they're ranking them like based on recent wins, skills, things like that. But just goes to show that like a third party website is seeing this and being like, yo, this division is so stacked that they would put Conor all the way below all these guys. Like Jalen Turner, that's a freaking beast. He could be a legit
I would
contender.
love to see him fight Jalen Turner.
He had a
I
really good performance.
I don't think he
last
gets
time out.
past Jalen. I think he gets
Yo,
knocked out in one.
I think honestly, bro, like that's the thing about 55 and 35 for me are the scariest divisions.
Really? What
be
at
honest.
45?
Well,
He's got-
okay, sorry. Let me take that back.
He's got 5 straight finishes, 2 of them in the first round, and he's doing it submission, KO, submission, KO. Like the kid is really good. He's really long. He's enormous for that division.
Yeah, so if I had to, so I mean, like top 10 45 is scary,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
35 and 55, even unranked guys, are scary.
Terrifying. Yeah, they're really.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's the only thing. I mean, I think Patty will be successful for now. I mean, it's still too early to say whether or not he's going to be as successful with those upper echelon guys, but the UFC knows what they're doing. You know, he signed a new contract.
Yeah.
So at this point, he might start asking, you know, maybe it's 1 or 2 fights later, he might start asking for ranked guys. Who knows? You know what I mean? But
I think they're giving him the right guys at the right time. You know,
yeah, styles make fights.
Yeah, because Jordan Levitt is coming off of a win. He hasn't, looked unimpressive. And he was weird enough to give him some build-up, And I think that was part of the appeal, that Patty came in angry. He was charged up for this, and to do that in the O2, the way that he did it, especially like 2 fights before a main event that unfortunately didn't unfold the way that we want. It didn't unfold the way that we wanted it to.
The best part of the night was
will he recover? Like, I don't know. That's a bad injury.
The best part of the night was not having to watch Jordan twerk. To be honest with you, that's probably the best.
Nah, I would have wanted to see that split just to like hurt Patty's ego. But I mean, nonetheless,
I don't know how I felt about the whole Aspinall thing, because like after the fight, did you see some of the stuff from Blades? Like Blades and him went and got a beer, so I guess like Aspinall didn't find it this way, but he kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where he's just like, he took way too much credit for the win. He said that he's like, I don't understand what the hype is about. Like, why did they go and get the beer? Because he was kind of like not cool to Tom about it. He was just like, he wasn't that fast, he wasn't that big. I don't know what the hype is about. And then I'm like, dude, you fought him for 15 seconds and ate a leg kick. Like, what do you know about how good Tom Aspinall is? And even if he's right, you have to fight him.
But we're also looking from the outside. Like when you're there, you can only we can talk about what we see versus what he sees. And again, you're right. It was only 15 seconds, which is very.
But that's my point. I know he's right in sense, like he has more of a right to say it because he's in the octagon. I was just saying, like, you really got that out of 15 seconds. Like that's what you were thinking about. You were trying to be laser focused on seeing what the hype was about.
I will say this, and this may be a hot take. I'm going to counter you on this, Phil, but I like this from Blades. He's notorious for being a boring ass fighter, and now he's
He
talking
was throwing
shit.
punches.
Like
He was throwing his.
he's talking shit. He was moving well, and honestly, from that 15 seconds, I thought he was gonna win the fight. Every
Me too.
exchange, he
Me too.
landed that right hand.
Mhm.
He
Me
was
too.
moving
Listen,
he
that's
was moving
fine.
well. Aspinall was putting the pressure on, but he was getting tagged every time they met. And
That's
Curtis
fine.
was obviously the much bigger guy. Now, I don't like that he said that he wasn't as fast, because I do think
Yeah,
that
that.
Aspinall he's a little slower at the beginning when he's gauging distance. He
Yep.
is fucking fast for a heavyweight.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I like
Honestly,
that Curtis is talking shit. That's good. Like it helps build him up. Even if you don't like him, now you're like, I want to see him lose. You know, that's good for him.
you gotta, but you also too, right? So like, when you're there. I mean, all right, let's say for example, you're a blue belt versus a white belt, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this, you could get a sense of it, like when you start, right? Again, I'm only talking from what I can, like from what I see. So he's a vet. He's been in that octagon with different people. You know what I mean? So after a while, you start to get a different feel for people. Again, 15 seconds. We can't really make assumptions or whatever the case is.
It's just one area of fighting, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's
Well,
just like
it's
if you
true.
roll with someone 15 seconds, it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So with
Yeah.
this, he has a mixed martial arts fight, and it's like what he was saying. My only point is this: 15 seconds can make a huge difference. Tell that
course.
to Jose Aldo. Tell that to Alistair Overeem. Tell that to Paul Craig, the guy that he who did he triangle? What's his name? I keep forgetting. Not Krylov. Magomed, right?
Ankalaev?
Like Ankalaev, yeah. So like 15 seconds can make a huge difference. You know, your lights can go out just like this, or you can get choked out. People get caught. So I didn't love that, and that's another reason why, like for me, I agree with what you're saying. He looked good. It looked like he was moving well. Blades just
He rubbed you the wrong way.
He just rubbed me the wrong way.
That's fine.
You gotta.
He's
But you
kind of
also have to-
boring, you know.
He
you have
is.
to
He's
remember too.
but him talking shit is good. Like that's what I'm.
Well,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
because
saying.
remember, right? So what he lacks. So
personality.
what his advantage is, right? So his advantage is well, I mean, he's a really good wrestler, but he sucks on the mic. So he had an opportunity to build himself. Yo, if that's me and I'm not really looked at as this like main attraction, I would have been in that press conference like, yep, I broke his leg. Yep, that was all.
He broke his leg.
That's how
Yep,
strong
that's
I
what
am.
did.
That's how strong I
broke
am.
his leg.
You know what I mean? Like you
He
got to
hit this
talk your
metal
shit,
thigh, baby.
right? You got to talk your shit because at the end of the day, how
How
do
much you want to
those
bet
big fights?
Connor is going to do that next time he gets leg kicked? He's like, "Yep, I broke his leg. I broke my leg."
But it's true, right? How do you get those big fights? You got to talk your shit and you got to sell yourself, because once you sell yourself, it's like, oh, now you're
He'll
talking.
get the big fights
All right,
because
cool.
he's number 4 or number 3 in the rankings anyway. But I understand your point. I mean, it was just really anticlimactic. It was.
Yeah, it was like
We've had
like
a lot of that recently.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I mean that's
I
the
mean,
second. What was the other one that ended?
Yair versus Ortega.
Yeah,
Yair
like
versus Ortega. I mean,
Which I mean, again, if I'm Yair, I would have been talking my shit too. Yeah, I broke Ortega's, or I dislocated his shoulder with that arm bar
think
attempt.
what
That was all me.
Munoz versus Sean. You know,
Yeah.
Sugar.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
sell yourself, because now because in those situations you have to tell a story, because you didn't really have much to show because of how fast those fights ended. So now you have to tell a story with that short, small window that you have. So now it's like, okay, I talked all that shit. Now people are gonna want to watch you lose because of all the shit you talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Who does he fight next though? Because he's saying that he's waiting for the winner of Tuivasa and who's Tuivasa and Cyril Gane. I think he beats Tuivasa, but I'm not sure if he beats Cyril Gane.
You know what it is too?
Well, can I tell you something? I think Francis cracked a really significant code.
With
and
Cyril?
I think because with Cyril, if he's having trouble with the wrestling of Francis, I mean, I agree with you. Cyril is a better mixed martial artist than Blades, but Blades is a really good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler.
Cyril
And he
Gane
hurts you on the ground.
Cyril Gane has been doing MMA for 3 years.
Well, that's my point. You're just asking me
3 years.
what I think.
And look how far he's gotten in that time.
But
what I'm saying is his growth is exponential.
It is,
You
but
know,
you know that the grappling takes more
there's
time
levels.
than the strike.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
grapple, especially at heavyweight where bodies are huge,
Heavy.
and it's not like you can't just get away on strength because everyone's strong, everyone's
But
big.
let's be
So my
honest,
point is,
though.
he's got to learn the technicality of it, and wrestling has a lot of technicalities that are, let's face it, it's hard to teach some of that stuff and
Well,
grasp it and then use it against another man
but let's be honest,
or
though.
woman.
How hard did Francis have to work to get those takedowns? I'm not taking anything away from Francis because
He worked hard. He worked
what
hard,
he
but you
did
forget
was impressive.
they've been in the gym plenty. They've been in the gym plenty
course.
together. So I'm just saying, I mean, Blades is like, okay, Blades will not have to work nearly as hard as Francis is. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think
Like,
you
I
also have
agree.
to take into account that in that fight with Francis, Cyril was not expecting a takedown. He thought
No,
this was
but
going to be a stand-up
That's
fight.
a
When you
fact.
come into
fair.
that
Exactly.
mentality,
Yeah.
you're like, it catches you off guard. So
No,
he's taking
that's
him
fair.
down, and Francis is as strong as they come. So it's like, you know, what the hell? Where did this come from? He stuffed a couple takedowns from Stipe, but I didn't think that his grappling would get this far, this fast, or whatever. And then, you know, you get grabbed by this monster, you know, like it.
265-pound man.
Yeah,
who
you don't
probably
really
fights at like
expect it.
285.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think I don't know. I mean, I think that Stilgon has a chance to be successful versus a Curtis Blades because if it's anything that we've seen is Cyril Gahn knows how to create distance. He knows how to cut those angles. So, do I think that Curtis Blades has a shot of taking him down? Yes, but I think that Cyril Gahn has a better chance of beating Curtis Blades than Curtis Blades beating Cyril Gahn. Maybe that sounds like a casual take. I don't know, but
I mean,
I
who knows?
think right. And honestly, too, like that injury
On paper, Curtis should win that fight. I'm sorry. Like, on paper, stylistically, Curtis should win that fight and relatively easily. But I just think his striking is so good, man. It's like, and that's the thing, though. He will be expecting the takedown. So I would like to see that fight happen just because I want to see how he preps for that type of camp. And then when he gets into the octagon, he's like, all right, let's see. Like, you remember the look on Stipe's face, or like the look that all of us had when Francis stuffed Stipe's takedowns in the second fight? We were just oh no. Like,
this was
a matter of time.
Yeah, this was a polished Francis. He was like, yo, I'm game, I'm ready. And then when you have somebody like Kamaru Usman at your gym, like, you know, also too,
and Cyril's the better natural athlete too. He just moves better than Francis, right?
Yeah,
so if we
and on top of that, again, like I'm a nerd for gyms. Like Extreme Couture is they're striking heavy and they're also wrestling heavy. So he had a lot of help for that camp too. So
yeah,
I mean, obviously,
it's also tough with the three kings as they call themselves because Usman's helping Ngannou with his wrestling, but Izzy's probably giving him tips on his striking. So you got a freaking world-class wrestler and a world-class striker both giving tips to a huge dude, and then vice versa. You probably got Usman giving tips to Izzy now about takedowns and stuff because he knows that eventually somebody's going to come up the ranks that's going to focus mainly on takedowns. So the three of them together, I see a dynasty forming between them. I don't think anybody's going to beat them in any time soon. Even Alex, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that Pereira's as big of a threat as people are making it out to seem. However, I will say that fighting Alex is good for Izzy's image because Alex will bring a fight to him.
Yeah,
and that's what he needs.
But hold on,
he
really
needs
quick.
someone to actually fight him. But we're getting off topic.
Yeah, I don't want to stray away from the topic. So we don't know how bad Aspinall's injury is.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to recover from that as fast.
Right,
and I looked at that a lot of the time when you come down in that fashion. I mean, because it looked like, I don't know if something came loose when he threw the kick. I'm just saying that when he put his leg back, usually when you have this, a lot of people seem to think meniscus, and if that's the case, then that's like a great sign for him. Well, where the fear is the PCL, obviously the ACL. Like PCL and ACL especially have horrible time frames and not great prognoses, especially if you tore more than one. So I'm really interested to seeing what happened with him. A meniscus you can come back from, but the PCL, the ACL,
yeah, I mean,
it's not good, man. Maybe a rupture. I mean,
yeah, because think about Thiago Santos. He's not the same ever since he messed his leg up. I mean,
no. No.
Now Rakic too. Like, we don't know how he's gonna come back and how he's gonna
Yeah.
perform.
Did you hear that Jimmy Manoa hit him last
Yeah, I
night
saw
at
that.
the
That was
event?
weird. What?
Did you hear this? Rakic,
Yeah.
if you go on MMA Junkie or any of the stuff on Instagram like that we follow, you'll see Rakic put out a video saying like, Jimmy Manoa, I retired you. You're a terrible loser, man. Blah 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 blah.
You
And he
fucking
was like,
pussy.
yeah, he said he's like, what? He's like, I'm in your head. Blah. He's like, I retired you. I knocked you out. And apparently he swung at him in the crowd, and he's like, I think his forearm, like he missed, like his forearm hit my neck or something like that. I mean, did anyone even know that Jimmy Manoa was like still around? Like, I don't know what Jimmy Manoa was doing, but Rakic is not the guy to do that to, I think.
He's a hater.
But I'm
Yeah.
sorry to go off topic, but still.
Yeah, but
Speaking of, Mhm.
those injuries is just those are very scary, and I hope that he
Yeah.
recovers and he comes back. Because honestly,
it's career threatening, and he's such
to be real, if I think is anyone that gives Francis problems, I think
It's
Aspinall
Von
has the
Aspinall.
tools to give him problems.
So do
In my
I. I don't care what Blade says about him. I think he's every bit as fast. I think he's very big. Apparently he's got a ground game that he hasn't shown an awful lot of. I
Bro,
mean,
he
I
beat
think he's a
Volkov.
stud.
He beat Volkov by submission.
I know, but I'm just saying Volkov, I don't think has much of a ground. I'm just saying I think we haven't seen enough of his ground game, but the stuff that we've seen has been very impressive.
Also-
Aspinall has a lot of talent, man.
Well, fun fact,
lot.
I don't know if you know this, but Aspinall's dad is the first black belt from London.
I did. I heard that.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
I heard that.
I know.
But-
he has to be.
We don't know if he's gonna come back and be the same fighter, but you know who did
Yeah.
come back and wasn't the same fighter? Alexander Gustafsson. I think that man should retire. I don't know why he's still fighting.
It's time to pack it up.
It's done, man. Like
Yeah.
that finish should not have happened. A good Alexander Gustafsson that fought DC and that fought John Jones would have been cooking Nikita Krylov while moving backwards because Nikita was just putting pressure on him with the hands.
Can I tell you something that interests me? Like, I just want to double check this before I say this because I'm almost positive I'm right, but yeah, I am right. Okay. John Jones and Gustafsson fought twice, and they're the same age.
Damn.
And I know that. So wait a minute. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
John Jones and him are both 35. They've both been in the UFC for quite some time, and I know. And listen, both of them have been inactive for multiple injuries, suspensions, you name it. Okay. Do you see what Father Time does to people? And then could we not just sit and appreciate for 1 second? Like, I know he's a douchebag, and I know he hasn't fought in a long time, but the idea that he looks like that at 35, I'm talking about Alex, and like what John Jones would potentially look like at 35, that's because he doesn't take damage the way that Gustafsson has been in more wars than you can think
Way
of.
more.
Not just
Well,
the John Jones fight. He's
yeah,
had wars with tons of people, and fighting that way for
That
your
he
career,
shouldn't have
he's
had
not
wars
35.
with.
Exactly. He's
Right.
35. He's not 35. He's 45. He's 45.
He's
Alex,
45
you know,
in fight
Alexander.
years.
That's my
Oh,
point. And
yeah.
John Jones is probably like 30 in fight years.
So this is the problem, right? Like, we see it all the time. Like, especially when you have bangers the way people, like the way he had with John Jones and even someone like DC, you leave a piece of you in that ring, octagon, cage, whatever sport you're fighting in. When you have brutal fights like that, you leave a piece of you there. So that wear and tear over time is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like Jose Aldo. How old is Jose Aldo? He's what, early 30s?
Ancient.
Maybe. He's not
Yeah,
old.
he's 33-ish.
He's 33-ish. But look how much.
No.
How old is he?
Who?
Jose Aldo.
Aldo's like 33,
Right?
34.
Technically around that age.
He's
as a fighter.
35.
Okay,
He's 35
that's still
now,
a
yeah.
young age. Like he's what? He's at the tail end of his prime. If you know,
Yeah, but
he's not declining. He's not declining, but
that's what I'm saying. He's looking good.
He's been a fighter for so long. You know what I mean? And he's had wars. So with time, like Phil said, Father Time does play a role, and his body is not the same. You know, so I think it's time for him to retire. You know what I mean? He had a good run. He's going to be one of the best fighters in the UFC who never won a championship. You know what I mean? He's just going to be one of those guys. And he has nothing to hang his head on. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't be. I don't know if I said that right, but he shouldn't be. Like he shouldn't feel bad for his career. Obviously, everyone wants to be at the top and be a champion, but I mean,
Yeah,
right
not
now, it just
everybody could
doesn't.
be Glover.
Right, not everyone can be exactly. Not everyone can be Glover, and the irony in that was he beat the shit out of Glover.
He
Like
did.
he had one of the best. He had one of the
That
best.
was the next thing I was gonna say. He did. He beat the shit out of Glover.
He had one of the best 4-punch combos that I've ever seen anyone throw besides Conor McGregor. When,
He did that,
fought
and
Eddie Alvarez.
he did it in the 5th round too.
You know what I mean? And that was for a title contention fight. So that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But speaking of title fights, our next topic, I don't know if Amanda Nunes is in the right headspace going in against Juliana Pena the second time around. It seems like she's talking even more shit than she was talking the first fight. There's this weird air where Amanda just doesn't seem confident to me. I don't know what's going on.
That's because she got bulldog choked into submission. Okay, I mean, let's be honest. Like, we're not talking about this unless Juliana, easily the biggest upset in the sport ever. Easily, it's not even that close. I mean, you could talk about like Matt Serra, GSP, like Juliana Pena. Did anyone see this coming? I'm not being disrespectful.
No.
I mean, she's a good fighter, but like, come on, it's hands down, and especially because GSP was the champ, but he wasn't like the legend of GSP yet when Matt Serra did that. Amanda Nunes is the legend. She's the queen, like when she's did this.
GOAT.
So my only thing is this. We keep talking about this about different people, okay? It happens to everyone. Connor couldn't maintain this level when you get famous and you get a little bit soft around the edges because you have families and kids and wives and husbands and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's that's just what happens, and she's not immune to that. And I'm not saying that she can't come back and win. I think the money is still going to be on her, but
what
are you gonna do?
I mean, honestly, the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Juliana wins, but I would be disappointed that Amanda Nunes lost.
Well, look at Tyron Woodley, right? There's been lots of guys who fall, okay? Tyron Woodley is not the same, like, dog that he was in the beginning, right? He had that, like, animal spirit. Like, he just didn't have it after a while. You could see from that Usman fight on, he just didn't have that. Connor doesn't seem...
But he didn't...
The stakes are lower, man. The stakes are lower. He's no longer the poor plumber kid from Ireland. He is a multi-millionaire. And Amanda Nunes had a baby. She has a wife. She's happy. She's got plenty of money. She's the biggest star in the sport from the female side. Like, it's not the same. And Valentina, that's why I think Valentina is the GOAT, because Valentina doesn't let any of that distract her. Valentina is the queen.
But you can make that case for a few other fighters. I mean, look at Usman. Look at Usman. I mean, at the time too, you know, a Max Holloway, he had Rush, you know, and he was killing people. I mean, not literally, but he was
Sean
just
O'Malley
doing
has a kid.
I'm not just talking about just having kids. I was just saying that staying on top for as long.
Well, yeah,
that's why you can't find a lot of guys who do. How many Max Holloways are there? Right? Like, how many GSPs? How many, like...
But let's be honest, though. Let's be honest, right? There comes a time where you are the cream of the crop. Like, all right, for example, Shevchenko. You're a cream of the crop. You're at the top. And then you just steamrolling people. You know what I mean? And Amanda took her lightly, to be honest, because Juliana doesn't really have an impressive record. Like,
she's not an impressive fider. I would have overlooked her too if I was Amanda.
She got choked out by Jermaine
Durandame,
who has no fucking
ground game
at all.
No,
she put her to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She put her to sleep.
What I'm interested in,
it's entirely possible that she's gotten better, but to choke out Amanda with a rear naked before she even got the hooks in. That's embarrassing.
She was tired. I think she gave up physically. Like, fatigue will make a coward out of anybody.
She did. That's my point. That's embarrassing.
But what I'm really interested in what I'm really interested in is what does the fight look like this time around, and what adjustments does Amanda make? Like, is
I
she going to
think
come out more patient because she was just trying to take her head off the whole first round? Is she going
How
to be
about
more
coming in shape?
methodical? What I don't think
She
that's
doesn't.
the thing.
Can I be
I
honest
don't
with
think
you?
she wasn't in shape. I think she has Conor
She's
McGregor
so
syndrome,
much
where
better than
she's so
Juliana. All she had to
explosive.
hold
do was
on,
be in
hold
shape.
on, hold
She's
on,
so
because
explosive that it gasses you out quicker.
well,
There are
also
guys that
too,
have power and there are guys
She,
that have
bro,
volume.
she was losing the stand up exchanges. Like my
Yes,
point is, she's
she doesn't
so
know how to
much more
slip a jab. It
talented.
was weird.
But that's why I'm telling you she wasn't in shape. Because listen to me, she's so much more talented than Juliana. I feel like she could show up, and all she had to do is be in shape, and she's better than her. So that's my point. I don't think she was in shape, and I don't think mentally she took the fight very seriously. I really don't.
but that's what I'm saying. But also too, hold on, and maybe I'm making an excuse for her, but she had
You
COVID.
got Catman over here. What the
Yo,
fuck?
these cats, bro.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
She had COVID.
She did? Oh shit, yeah.
COVID. Remember, COVID affects everyone differently. I had COVID. I didn't have the bad version, but I had COVID, and I didn't feel that. She was going through it.
I
So
get that, but can I
maybe
be
that
honest
could
with
be a
you?
thing, bro.
But if you can get cleared, you should be able to perform. I mean, I'm sorry, you got to perform. If then don't take the fight. I mean,
Yeah.
she
But you
didn't
have.
mention anything like that. Like she
I
didn't
don't
make an
think I
excuse.
don't think it really affected her. I don't see that as a plausible
I
excuse.
mean,
But
maybe not.
hey, listen. We don't know how that fight's gonna look until they fight. I got Amanda, but I wouldn't be surprised if Juliana beats her again. But
I'm betting on Juliana.
on
I'm
that
betting
same
on
card,
Juliana.
if I'm not wrong, on that same card, isn't Kai Kara France and Brandon Moreno fighting?
Yes, I'm
That
nervous
fight,
for that fight.
I'm really interested in. Yeah, I'm
I'm
nervous too
nervous.
because I'm Team CKB. I want Kai Kara France and all of them to
Nah, I
become
want
champions.
Moreno. I want Moreno to
But
win.
exactly, but I love Brandon Moreno, so I'm conflicted. I don't like. I would be happy with whoever wins, but man, I don't know, bro. Like, can
Nah,
you imagine 3 champions from the same gym at the same time? That would be
bums,
crazy, crazy.
bums.
So
Do
I
we have
I
any
want
gyms like that? Are there any? Like, do we have
no,
three at once?
no,
I'm talking about
ever,
just the UFC.
um.
no.
Trying
Sanford
to
I
was
think
is the closest.
AKA maybe.
I
No,
mean,
they
listen,
only had
I
Khabib in
think we
DC.
gotta be
Oh
careful. Like,
yeah.
can we? You guys are aware that he lost to Brandon Moreno already, right? Just to put
Yes,
that out there.
Yes.
Okay.
but how
So
long ago was
But
that?
Brandon, no wait, but hold on.
it was in 2019, so it's a while ago. But at the same time, like Brandon Moreno, not too long before that was cut. So it's a weird fight. I mean, I
Kai,
will say this: he lost to Brandon Royval, who has shown to have some issues, right? Some holes. He has a 3-fight win streak. Cody Garbrandt is one of them, and I really don't know what to make of Cody, especially at 25. So I got to be honest with you. Like the Askar Askarov, the unanimous decision win, that was a
Yeah.
beautiful performance, and that I'll give him. So I know
I
how,
love
how good
Kai.
Kai Kara is. Hey, he's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. But like 29, just entering his prime. Moreno has gone what 3 fights now with David Figueiredo, who is, let's be honest, is the cream of the crop. I got Brandon Moreno, and I don't even think it's
Fuck
that hard.
Davidson.
I do
Davidson's
too,
a
and the only
pussy.
Wait, how are you
Davidson
gonna
would,
do that?
let me go on a quick rant.
How are you gonna do
Davidson,
that? Let us speak.
he's a fucking pussy because
here's
he's
the
over here complaining about interim because he doesn't want to fight Moreno again. You
And
just
then he
don't
fired his
want
first.
to. You
Then he
can't
fired his
handle the
first camp.
heat of the salsa.
he's
That's what's
he's
going on.
injured. He's injured
pussy.
though. Apparently he's
Who?
injured. I think he has a thumb
Davidson?
injury or a hand injury. Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah. Look it
fuck
up.
that shit. He's scared. He's been
So
ducking. He's been ducking Moreno since he lost that fight. He barely won that fight. I didn't give it to him, and he's been ducking him this whole time. He's like, I want to fight Kai Kara France. I want to fight somebody else. Blah blah blah. No, you give that man his 4th fight because the first fight he beat you, the second fight he beat you, the third fight he beat you, and they gave it to you. Like, stop being a wuss. Fight that man.
yeah. And honestly, there was no reason for a rematch. Like he won. Like it's not like Moreno won with an asterisk. Like, oh well, we don't
That's
know.
what I
Like
was
he beat
saying.
him. He beat him decisively. Like he tapped. He submitted him. You know what I mean? So I didn't see the need for that. You could have made Kai Kara France Brandon Moreno for the chip, not an interim chip. You could have made him. That could have been the actual title fight.
Man.
But
That was
listen,
one of the
so
worst decisions. And people were just like, "Oh, it wasn't robbery," but people have to understand. Do you know how hard it is to win a belt by decision that way? Like you have to
So
the title from a champion.
so the so the reason why I can see why people gave not Figueiredo the win was because of the knockdowns.
Yeah.
Honestly, that
Oh my
you can
God.
give it like it was.
Talk to this. Davison hits harder. Okay, that's the only thing you need to know about those knockdowns.
No, but
Yeah,
in fighting, when you get knocked down, that's usually a 10-8 round, and he got knocked down twice. But
Right.
the amount of strikes that Brandon Moreno landed afterwards gives him the fight. I don't know, man. I'm just pissed at the whole situation.
Rounds, or at least 3 of those rounds. Like, come on, man. Like, I
You
understand
you could have
knockdowns, but I'm just saying that fight, you have to watch the entire fight and just be like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, he knocked him down. Great. Sometimes you get taken down too.
Now, peep, right? So judges are judging based on criteria, but also with emotions. Believe it or not, at least in my opinion, right? Because
Yeah, of course.
you're in a crowded arena. Somebody's getting punched. Somebody fell, and now the crowd is going, "Oh!" So not only are you judging the fight off of the criteria, now you're judging the fight because of everyone around you. Now, now that makes it like, okay, this is significant because not only is it a part of the criteria, everyone around us is creating that making that the case for us that was significant.
I don't disagree.
I think Moreno won. I think Moreno won in terms of the volume and the significant strikes percentage and stuff like that. Like, I'm a big numbers guy, but unfortunately, like we all know,
that reminded me of Fury versus
right
Wilder, where Fury got knocked down, came back and won the round, got knocked down again, and when he came back that last round where he got knocked down, he won every second of the rest of that round, and they gave it a draw. But
it's also too, remember, like boxing and MMA, like there's still no difference in terms of judging, unfortunately. Like, we have boxing judges, we have
It's a whole different episode.
yeah, and we'll get to that eventually. But
mm-hmm.
I hope Brandon Moreno wins. I really do. Fucking Figueiredo is talking about maybe going to 135.
I think that's overdue, frankly. I really do.
I would love to see him at 135, fight someone like a Peter Yan. You know what I mean? That would be a fucking bloodbath. I
think Peter Yan beats the brakes off of Davison. I just
I
find him much more technical, and his power would not transfer quite as well at 35. I'm telling you.
I don't agree.
I think, meaning he's powerful regardless, and he's a bigger guy, but I'm just saying Peter Yan is so much more technical than Davison.
Davison Figueiredo should not move up. He will not crack nearly as hard as he does now.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But I would like to see. There's some 35.
I don't know. But I mean, think about it, right? So he fights. So how Figueiredo maybe weighs in? Maybe he does.
He walks around at 160.
Yeah, he's
all right. So now imagine you have to lose 25 pounds.
But that dude, he's doing it at 25.
He's doing it. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
But if he's hitting hard at 25, imagine how hard he's gonna hit at 35.
But he's hitting hard at 25 because the guys are smaller.
You're hitting bigger targets. Yeah.
All right. You know what? That's fair. Okay.
It's when welterweights move up to middleweight. They're like, yo, this guy's not going away. I will sleep in everybody.
I don't think he beats.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. I can agree with that. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But moving on, this UFC 280,
bro,
is probably gonna be the biggest card that we have seen in like the last 5 years. This shit is crazy. Let me read you just the main card lineup that we have right now. Benil Dariush versus Matheus Gamrot. Sean Brady finally getting a top guy versus Bilal Muhammad. Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. I don't even know how that happened. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. And then Islam Makhachev versus the Illuminato, Charles Oliveira. Like, I don't even. If I could go, I would go. This would be the card that I would be like, I gotta see this in person.
You know what fight is a sleeper on that card? In my opinion, is that Sean Brady versus Bilal Muhammad.
I don't think so. I disagree.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Because it's gonna be a grappling match.
But it's a true test for both of them. To be honest, to see
I
if
think Brady
to
wins
see if
that.
Bilal Muhammad can like really
Brady.
hold it down. Like I want to see how much better Bilal Muhammad got, and I want to see how good Sean Brady really is. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Am I making sense with what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
no, I
they
get what you're
both
saying.
have they both have something to prove,
I think
and I
Brady
think
is
that
so legit, man.
he is legit. I mean, he's
I
his
just
jiu-jitsu
know
is
that
up there.
Dariush Gamrot fight is gonna be a banger because Dariush does not have boring fights. And then
They, and it could be a grappling match too. And I think
yeah, but his style,
I don't know if
Dariush's style.
I don't know if Gamrot's ready for Dariush. I'm gonna take Dariush in that fight.
me too.
You know what's
Yeah.
weird? It's just like Dariush just seems to be so inactive all the time.
They
That's
don't fight him.
But that's not
they
his
don't-
fault though. That's not like the thing. The problem that I have, right, with I would say 55 and honestly 35, 55, and 70 is that they are so stuck on I want to fight my ranking. Like I need to fight ranked guys that are above me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they're not just taking fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even with Makachev, the shit that gets me tight about Makachev is like, oh, tell me a top 5 guy that he fought or a top 10 guy that he fought. Like he's been getting spoon fed. Well, if nobody wants to fight him, then he's got to fight whoever they give him. Because at the end of the day, like Dana White says, I have to get these guys 3 fights a year. If I don't get guys 3 fights a year, I have to pay them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the shit that bothers me about like the shit like people say about Islam, because think about it. I mean, he fought Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker just had some like he wanted to fight, you know what I mean? But he made it look easy. But I mean, it just bothers me because you can't there's fighters
My problem with Islam is exactly what Patty said. I don't think he's been tested the way that Charles Oliveira is going to test him. Because again, like it's there's almost this narrative that like Islam is just going to be too strong for him and he won't be able to do anything. That
And
is delusional.
my
That is
perspective-
fucking delusional. That's
my perspective has
crazy.
changed. My perspective has changed about that fight.
Listen, he looks so good, but he's not. He hasn't fought anybody. I mean, can I be honest with you?
That's not his fault.
No. Let's not say he hasn't fought anybody because Drew Dober is a real guy.
Okay.
Drew Dober is tough.
And Drew Dober is still unranked in the UFC. So listen to me.
Yeah, but it's not his fault. He like what? He fought Alexander Hernandez and then fought Makachev.
And Alexander Hernandez, he doesn't belong either. Okay.
I agree. I hate Alexander Hernandez.
Oh,
He's
man,
my new
he's a
Kevin Lee.
Fucking
I
cornball.
But hear me out. Like I'm gonna make
He's my new Kevin Lee.
I'm gonna make a point. I love Islam, and I think he's absolutely deserving of this shot, and he should be there. And there's no problem I have at all admitting that. But you also have to be objective. He fought even lower competition than Khabib did at this point in his career, and like everyone's loving Khabib, but no one's, So like my point is, I think the Charles fight is gonna be fun. It's an interesting clash of styles. Charles been doing this forever.
Charles and two.
Very best. And yeah, he had issues at 45 and he's missed weight and things. Okay, whatever. Talent for talent.
Charles and two.
Charles got dynamite in his hands and he's the best finisher in the UFC. I'm
Well,
serious.
He dropped Chandler with the most beautiful technical left hook I have ever seen thrown in the UFC by an MMA fighter.
Okay.
He ran through Justin Gaethje. He had Dustin Poirier, who's really strong, in a clinch for most of the round. He's smart, he's technical, and he's dangerous on the ground. He is the best submission artist ever in MMA. And that's stats. Facts.
So this is what I'm not gonna let happen. Is
I'm just saying.
I get that, and
Charlie Olives.
And I respect it. I completely respect what y'all saying in regards to that. But let's not act like Islam is not good at where he's good at. Like regardless of who he fought, right? Like you still have to wake up and train. You still have to wake up and train hard. Like, okay, Bobby Green isn't, I guess, this top level talent that he's gonna fight and really get tested. Neither was Dan Hooker, neither was Drew Dober. And I understand that and I completely get it. But Islam is no scrub. Like the only fight that he lost That's it. After that, he hasn't lost.
I just want to point out you said that with so much passion.
No,
Islam is no scrum.
because he's not though, right? So and also too,
No,
right?
I agree.
I
I
just
don't
wanted
think
to
that's
go
what
back,
we're saying at all. I think what
but
we're saying
I
is that Charles is just he's just better in my opinion. I
well
think
we
he's
can't
just
say,
better.
but all right, but we can't necessarily. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me not say some
We
shit.
can,
That's not.
'cause he's
Let me
finished
not say.
with
Let,
guys.
I know. I was gonna say a shit take. So I'm not gonna. Oliveira has fought better talent. Yes.
And anything Islam has done, Charles has done it, and he's done it better.
Way better.
Well, I mean, Islam hasn't had the chance to be tested because no one has wanted to test him. No one has wanted to take that. No one has wanted.
Guys were lining up to fight that monster Charles Oliveira. I mean,
Well.
No, I mean Jesus is right here because Charles has never had a problem getting a fight. He's always been underestimated. You know?
When you're notoriously known for having when you're having a shit mentality that you quit, then we also have some technical issues, but when you have a shit mentality that you're known around the fight game that you quit, of course anybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I got a chance. I'm gonna underestimate this guy. Now, granted, yeah, that was before and this is now, but when have you ever seen Islam Makhachev? Oh, he quits mentally and all this bullshit. No,
you're not.
So-
I mean, he's
so-
different breed.
so-
I get
Justin Gaethje thought that he was going to steamroll him because of that mentality, right? He thought that. And what happened? He got clapped, right? So it's a
He got rocked.
It's a different it's a completely different Charles Oliveira now because he just has that swagger, and I fuck with Charles. And if he wins, I wouldn't be mad. Although I would like Islam to win. Maybe I'm just biased. No, I'm just biased. I want Islam to win, but I wouldn't be mad if Charles won. But you also have to also remember, like, that's not Islam's fault because of the type of people he fought, right? Like, look at Zabit. He fucking retired because nobody wanted to fight him.
He also just wanted to
Is
be
that his fault?
He also got really sick and then
Well,
and
okay,
just wanted to
put that
talk-
aside though. But put that aside though.
Yeah.
Who really wanted to fight Zabit?
nobody. I
No one
really
wanted to
want
fight Zabit.
man, that's the biggest what if
You-
ever.
you know what I mean?
Because that
So-
dude
So going back to Islam, maybe the whole bullshit with RDA, fuck this, like, that could have been his test. But honestly, I think he would have steamrolled over RDA.
Nah, he
too.
would have fucked RDA up.
He
If
would've
you
fucked
saw what
RDA up.
we just saw what Fazim just did to him.
You know what I mean? So it's like I get what y'all saying with Charles, and he is right now, like perception wise, he is better because of what he has done within his last 5 fights. But I mean, Islam is not the same grappler that Kevin Lee was or Michael Chandler was. You know what I mean? I mean, they didn't grapple a whole lot. Like Michael Chandler was able to get out of that exchange, but we're not talking like this is not the same guy. Like this guy is strong. And who has he fought? Which Sambo wrestling is not. It's not the same as regular American style wrestling.
So real quick, here's the thing, right? Islam is good. I just think that Charles is like pound for pound one of the best. You know,
I agree.
Now,
I don't disagree.
With that being said, we got the Amanda Nunes card coming up, and then we can skip a few pay-per-views because 280 I think supersedes anything else. No, wait, we got the Amanda card, and then we have Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. You guys want to make some quick picks for those two cards? On the 277 Amanda Nunes card, we have Anthony Smith versus Magomed Ankalaev. Everybody on 3, Ankalaev. He's gonna fucking win.
I want.
You don't think so?
No, I think he's gonna win, but I want Anthony Smith to win for like that redemption story. For that redemption story, like,
but you love Magomed. That's weird.
I do love Magomed, but I want both of them to win.
I'm actually gonna go a different way. I'm ready to fall asleep. Just from talking about it. So,
okay, Alexander Pantoja versus Alex Perez. I have Pantoja.
I have. Oh wow, yeah, I have Pantoja too. I think he wins by submission.
Yeah. Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. I have Sergey Pavlovich.
I got
I have
Lewis.
Sergey too. Nah, I got Sergey.
Wait, is the fight in Houston or no?
No.
All right, I got Lewis.
Who did Sergey fight last?
I forgot, but I've seen him box, and like I've seen his
I
movement,
think no.
and I
Okay,
think
well,
he's
regardless,
gonna give him a lot of trouble.
I have Sergey. Because he
Okay.
has a lot more tools to win than Derek, in my opinion.
Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara France. Kai Kara's the
Brandon.
underdog. I got Kai Kara.
I got Brandon.
Okay. Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 2.
I got Amanda.
Amanda Pena. I can't choose that one. I really can't choose that one. Honestly.
Okay. 280, we got Benil Dariush versus Gamrot.
Dariush.
I have Dariush. Sean Brady versus Bilal Muhammad. I have Sean Brady. Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley.
Yan.
O'Malley.
Oh.
We could talk about that on the next episode, but
I
think O'Malley could do it. Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw.
I got Aljo.
I got Aljo.
I have TJ.
I got Aljo because I'm not convinced that TJ beat Sandhagen. Whatever, it's fine. Go ahead.
That's a good point. Makachev versus Charles Oliveira. I have Charlie Oliveira.
Makachev. Islam, baby.
You have Charles. Right. Okay. And then we got the Usman versus Edwards card. So just start off with the main event. I have Kamaru Usman.
Leon.
I don't,
I have Leon.
You have Leon?
Yep.
I'm like borderline on that one because
I have Leon. We could talk about that the next episode, but I have Leon.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about it after.
So impressed that he lasted with Nate Diaz.
Nope, and I'll get into.
I have Merab the Machine versus Jose Aldo.
I have
Merab.
Nah, I got Jose.
You got Merab, Phil? Okay.
I think he's gonna take down City.
Oh my God! I didn't even know that this card. Luke Rockhold versus Paulo Costa.
I got Paulo. I got Paulo. I think he beats the dog shit out of Rockhold.
Rockhold's gonna take him down, beat the shit out of him.
I got Paulo Costa. I think he's gonna hit him with a left hook.
I think he's gonna beat him. I think he's gonna beat the dog shit out of Rockhold. I like Luke Rockhold, but I think he beats the dog shit out of him.
Bootleg Davidson, his brother Francis Figueiredo versus Amir Albazi. I don't know who it is. Yeah. And then the only other fight on here that I would be like remotely interested is honestly probably Tyson Pedro versus Harry Hunsucker because I know who Tyson Pedro is.
I have no
everybody else.
Harry
I
Hunsucker.
like Pedro in that one. Hunsucker is he's exactly what his name says. So.
I think Leonardo Santos beats Jared Gordon. By the way, I think Leonardo Santos is a very slept on upcoming contender. Don't sleep on him. But yeah, so those are our picks. If anybody's watching this episode and is trying to make any bets happen, take this. Do this information what you will. We are not advisors.
I have no money.
Yeah.
I will not refund you.
I have no money anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a financial advisor. I also suck with picks, so I just go off of emotion and sometimes logic. Sometimes I like to do both, though.
And sometimes you pick the Mexican fighter because you're Mexican, and that's about it.
This is true. Or you pick against the Mexican fighter because they're bootleg Mexican.
When Ortega versus Yair was happening, he was just like,
I don't know.
I had a conundrum. I was going through it. But no, I actually don't like Yair that much.
Okay, that's fair.
But if he beats Alex Volkanovski, I'll be a fan.
But yeah, here we are. We're back. This was the Takedown Breakdown, and thanks for tuning in.
Alrighty, peace.